Alright, just a little decode today. This is on the great work, that phrase, um, that you may have heard people into esoteric, occult topics and whatnot say, the great work. And, this is, as I'm going to show, it's the great work is ultimately the path back to God, being one, becoming one again with God. So the Kabbalah states that humanity has fallen 125 degrees away from the Creator. Kabbalah equals 125. Spiritual equals 125. Conscious equals 125. Great work equals 125. And the great work, a term used in Hermeticism that can be defined as humanity's journey and goal to reach perfection of the self in order to be one with God. To do this, transcendence is the name of the game. Constant or continual evolution or ascension from one state to the next state, from, one state to a higher state, and keep going up, climbing Jacob's ladder, the higher and higher states, until you're one with God. Transcendence, a word equating to 125. In Most High God, that phrase equals 125. There's this article here about Hermeticism, or the Hermetic tradition, and it says right here, it says Hermeticism is a middle position because it affirms both God's transcendence of the world and his involvement in it. God is, so this is where it's cut off, God is metaphysically distinct from the world. God needs the world, all of his creation, to complete himself. The great work was the goal of Aleister Crowley's Thelema, tomato, tomato, I guess, and Thelema equals 125. The phrase the fall equals 125, and the fall referring to the fall of the angels. The fall of the angels marked the fall of consciousness, where the angels were tempted by earthly desires, of the flesh, of humans, or you could really animalistic desires, and they fell from light into matter. Angels are also called star seeds. Star seeds, a phrase equating to 125 as well. Interestingly, the phrase the dark angels, like the angels that went dark, right? But this phrase, the dark angels equals 125. Because think about it, like I just said, they fell from light into matter, or dark, from the immaterial world to the material world. The more dense, in a more dense dimension, realm, whatever you want to say. And the phrase angels of unconsciousness equals 125. Darkness itself equals 125. Because unconsciousness, you could say, is darkness. And Lucifer was the leader of the fallen angels, of course, and it's all too fitting that the show Lucifer premiered on January 25th in 2016. That is the date written 1/25. All for a reason, you guys. This stuff is not by accident, but more on the show Lucifer here. You can come to my post and click here. I'll leave it linked. I'll leave some, I'll probably leave, I don't know, either the posts or videos linked. I've got some, I think another video that relates to this topic, and post along with that. I'll leave that linked as well. So, just to clear something up, for, an average person, someone who's not really into this stuff, doesn't understand it, whatever. If you're thinking that what I'm saying or what I just read, now it's full screen so you can see the whole, this is what I just read, this right here, that uh, this is a contradiction, how it says, you know, Hermeticism is a middle position because it affirms both God's transcendence of the world and his involvement in it. God is metaphysically distinct from the world, yet God needs the world to complete himself. See, here's the thing. And then the whole thing I was saying, how people, you know, can be one with God. And then you might be thinking, well, how can people be one with God until all of creation is one with God? Well, see, if things can seem contradictory, and you could come from that point of view and say it is, but everything, it's yin and yang. It's, there's one point of view you can see, and and a whole nother that you can, and they can both have, and they both have, um, equal validation or validity. And, um, so if you take out the whole concept of space-time, because truly in the grand scheme of things, because God is infinite, everything is infinite, right? That's why this number we're talking about, 125, that reduces to 8, and you flip that figure, that number 8, on its side, and you got the infinity symbol, because that's everything is infinity. This is an infinite universe. So, therefore, infinite possibilities, infinite points of view. You can argue anything and be correct. You just have to have understanding. And so if you take out the concept of space-time, looking at the grand scheme of things, to become one with God, basically just acquiring so much experience and therefore wisdom till eventually you do. And it's a mental state, somehow it's possible to, because like I said, infinite possibilities. Somehow, I don't know how because, well, I don't know how. It's possible to fully mentally ditch the whole concept of space-time. Therefore, that, and, I have to a degree, but not to the degree that I 1,000% realize that I'm one with God, completely, right? And I'm still in human form. So that just tells you, that's the tell right there. But, there are people that have done this, beings that have done this, and, beings that will do this. So when this here says, Hermeticism is the middle position, or is a middle position, um, you know, because it's seemingly, contradictory, as God is one, or all he needs, yet he needs all of the rest of his creation to complete himself, because yin yang, it's how it just says Hermeticism is a middle position. Because true Hermetics will know, anybody that truly understands, the nature of existence will understand what I'm about to say. Hopefully I can say it in a way people can understand. And that is, you know, one that can stand in the middle and look at opposing points of view or opposing arguments, sees both equal to each other, both equally true. Because all things have their true and false. And it just really depends, if you're in an argument, let's say in a debate, how well can you debate? How knowledgeable are you? How, what's your understanding? That's really all what it boils down to. I hope that makes sense. But, so you can look at God being metaphysically distinct from the world. I guess you could look, you look at that on one scale, and then on the other, you look at how he needs the world to complete, or all of his creation to complete himself. Both are true. Both are just as true as they are false. Therefore, they balance themselves out. And that's how creation is. That's how creation sustains itself. Without balance, without the compromise of opposites. This is what Thelema talks about. They talk about opposites, the union of opposites. And you can look that up for yourself. I don't know specifically what they say about it, but this is basically what they're saying here. What they understand. For there to be creation, the union of opposites has to be, or maybe for better words, the compromise, the existence of opposites have to be. It's really not that complicated. It's language to me. Like, I have a hard time expressing what I know, what I understand, but I think that's just how it is, because these things are so, and it's just like these things are so beyond what we were taught and out of our realm of everyday knowledge. To touch back on what I was talking about earlier. So if you become one with God, right? Let's say, you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait for the rest of creation to be one with God, to be one with God. Let me explain. Because you do, like, like the Buddhist concept nirvana, right? If you attain nirvana, going beyond space and time, and you truly realize that you are all that is, then you go beyond space and time, and you become one with God without having to, I guess, lack for a better words, wait on the rest of creation to be one with God, even though technically it wouldn't be the rest of creation anymore if it's one with God, because it'd be the singularity again, source. And anyways, waiting on creation would be pointless because that would just be you waiting on yourself. So that was just an attempt, and an inevitably failed attempt to explain the nature of existence. Because existence operates on such subtle, undescribable laws that language cannot do any justice in conveying the truth. Silence is the best teacher. Not people, not anything. Silence is the best teacher, and through silence you can learn all that I just attempted to explain, as well as anything else, anything at all that you want to know, because the language of the nature of existence is silence.